Now this segment started off way different than how I'm going to start this off. And I'm about to talk about a personal situation that happened with me and a pretty big company. But I thought after the first record, I sat on it, I slept on it, and I thought, you didn't sound like, I didn't sound very nice in the video or the podcast, however you're listening to this. And essentially, if that company were to hear the advice I'm about to give and talk about this story, they probably know it was them that I was talking about. So I decided to re-record this part of the show to have it be more of a lesson to said company and to all of you guys out there who are thinking about your email marketing strategy for the rest of this year, 2020 and beyond. So to back it up a little bit, I had a situation happen where I was invited. I got an email, and I work in the logistics and trucking space. And I got an email about a free event that was going on in Orlando, just a couple hours away from me. And it was a workshop, almost set up kind of like a conference, with a networking event, educational workshop with a networking event to follow. Now, me being so close to Orlando, I thought, well, as soon as I got first of all, I got the email, opened it up, saw the workshop notification. I said, wow, that's something that I could go to, and I can learn about the challenges because this particular workshop was centered around the challenges, software-wise, tech-wise, just overall business practices that could be helpful to a bunch of shippers out in the world. And I thought, well, my customers are shippers too. And so I need to know about these challenges that they're facing so I can hopefully develop content in the future, develop solutions in the future to help ease that for them. I was using it as an educational opportunity for myself with a bonus part to network afterwards, maybe get some business from it, but more importantly, to know what the challenges that part of my audience is going to be facing, either facing now or in the future. I think that's very, very important as a marketer, as a business owner, as a service provider, that I understand those challenges and I develop and I'm proactive about the solutions around it. So get the email, I get excited, I contemplated, I think, travel schedule wise, can I make it work? Can I, hotel, driving, the dates, do they match up? All looks good. So I registered for the event. It's a free event too. So I register for the event. I get a little, a little extra pep in your step for the day. Then the next day rolls around and I get an email from said company, essentially uninviting me to the workshop. They probably checked out my website, saw that I offered services, and they said, you're not our target demo, so we're uninviting you. They didn't say it in that many words, but obviously I can't get into too much of the verbiage of the actual email because then I could give away the company name. But needless to say, I was pretty pissed off. Like on the receiving end of that email, I did everything you wanted me to do. I opened the email, I clicked on the CTA within the email, and I registered for your event. Luckily, I didn't book my travel yet, so I'm not out any cash. But to send an email the following day uninviting me because of your mess up, I would not have done that as a business owner. If I accidentally sent out an email to the wrong base, I would have notified them en masse. I would have done the same exact mass email, but sent it to those same people and said, I'm sorry, we had a technical glitch. We sent out an email in error. Please, all of the invitations are going to be canceled. I was isolated. I was signaled out and left out. And so now that it puts a sour taste in my mouth about this particular company, especially when they're a fairly large company and they probably have the budget in order to send out appropriate marketing messages to their target audience. I'm more than sure that they have the capabilities to do that. But it got me thinking of why email segmentation is so very important. This is what I want to kind of just jump into and give out some free game to everybody that's sending emails, that is thinking about sending emails. And I think first and foremost, and especially to that company, hopefully they're watching this and so they'll take some email segmentation tips. But first of all, I want to start off with put yourself in your audience's shoes. Out of the hundreds of emails per day, would your audience open the email that you're about to send? And if they opened it, would they take your desired action, which is clicking on a blog post link, signing up for a workshop, any kind of desired action that you have within that email? Are they going to open it, or are they going to take that action? And the best way to make sure that they do all of those things is to segment your emails. And you want to make a habit of regularly segmenting your email list, first of all. Second of all, you want to make sure that those segments best fit that audience and your intended message. So probably the next question is, well, how do I email segment? Well, first of all, if you're collecting emails on your website, or maybe you bought an email list or whatever, however way you got that email list, no judgment. A little bit of judgment, actually. But if you are collecting emails on your website or is some other way, try to segment them from the get-go, from the jump. Isolate it. And you got to also figure out how you're going to segment your emails. What kind of emails are you going to send? Knowing what kind of emails you're going to send off the jump will help you craft that message and craft that segmentation a lot better. So you can do this by, let's look at your current email list. Does location play a role? Does the user's email, their job responsibility, does that play a role? How old are they? Are they tech savvy? Are they tech challenged? These are all factors, plus many, many more. You can segment until you're blue in the face, which is ideally what you should be doing. But admittedly, it's not what a lot of companies do. It should be something that should be a higher priority because, as I've said before, your website and your email list are the only two things in the digital world that you will ever truly own. So treating those as your most important digital commodity is in your best interest, and it's also in your audience's best interest as well. So it's one of those things where you really have to make sure that you're collecting them correctly from the jump. And then if you do in the future want to send out more or other marketing messages to either test a small segment to see if that's something that they would enjoy receiving. Maybe you have a case study that just launched and you want to let your audience know about it. And so you send that out there. Maybe you launch an e-store and you want to let your audience know about that. Maybe you have coupons that are attached to your e-store and you want to send those out. Well, the damn coupons might not be interesting to the person who signed up just to get a damn case study. So you have to start small, test small, and test frequently, and then also segment your email list as early on as you can, because sorting through email lists in the future can be really challenging, but it'll help you to avoid situations like what this big company did, where they probably sent out a mass email and then got a bunch of users that signed up and registered for the event that they're not trying to target. So now they have to uninvite a bunch of people, and it just looks bad all around. Like you've just made a lot of people feel upset who did exactly what you wanted them to do. And so the next time you send them an email, I wonder how many of those people are actually going to take the desired action. Probably not many, because they're afraid they're going to get disinvited again. So segment your email list. If you have a sign-up form on your website, I would consider adding additional checkboxes to the emails that you're collecting. Are they getting updates to anything new that's been posted? Do they want insight from the leadership team? Do they only want coupons and nothing else? Ease that email burden before getting started on your communications. And if you're new to the game or you haven't done it yet, then start off with the email list you already have, or maybe your list of contacts that you already have. I'm actually about to do this same thing where, for those who have followed me, you know that I was an executive assistant, also worked in the marketing, was in charge of all the marketing for a couple of different logistics companies. And I have a lot of contacts that I have kept over the years. And I'm about to launch an e-commerce store, and a lot of them haven't heard from me in a while. So they're essentially going to be getting a cold email from me. So I'm a believer in that cold emails are well served when they're done right. So if you're in a situation where you obtained, I don't think I obtained my email sketch in a sketch fashion, but if you're working with somebody who may have bought an email list or may have secured an email list in probably an unethical way, there's a way to market to that email list where it's not super creepy. You're not going to create like a bad taste in someone's mouth when they think about your brand. And I just want to run through a few tips, because it can cost you business if you don't segment your emails, even if it's a cold email, even if they've already subscribed to you, especially if it's a cold email. You want to make sure that you're segmenting those lists properly in the future, even if you are starting off by sending just a mass email to a bunch of different people, which is essentially what I'm going to have to do whenever I launch this e-commerce store. I have thousands and thousands of emails of contacts that I've worked with over the years that don't know I'm working on this e-store. So when I launch it, I want to launch it in a way that, hey, this is helpful for you and here's how. And I think that that's one of the more important takeaways when you're sending out a cold email, is that you want to make sure that it's all about them. It's not about you. I mean, it's kind of about you, but you want to make it so whatever you're trying to tell them about is going to solve a problem of theirs. And that's why they should continue to stay engaged with your emails, continue to open them, and extra bonus points if you give a heads up. I've seen this done, and I've actually responded positively to it, where I've had a business that didn't hear from for a while. They switched up their branding, they switched up their service offerings, and what they did is they sent out an email to all of their contacts, probably hundreds of thousands of people, but they said, this is the new direction that we're going to take. This is the new service offering that we have. And these are the kind of emails that we're going to be sending out on a regular basis. If you want to get these emails in the future, click this button. And then what you're doing is you're getting a double opt-in, which is great from the companies that provide email marketing services, like MailChimp, Constant Contact. These companies want to know that you're not spamming people to death. So they want to know that you've had people that have opted into your email list, or have created a situation where it's a double opt-in. So say if you have an email list of, this is the situation that I'm dealing with. I have an email list that I'm going to upload to MailChimp. And then from there, I'm going to send them that exact message. This is your problem. This is our solution to that problem. And here is a link that you can click to get these messages in the future. If I don't hear from you, if you don't click the link, then you're not going to ever hear from me again. I'm never going to send you an email that you don't want. So that goes into my next tip. Make sure that you have the unsubscribe button front and center, clear as day, so that if somebody doesn't want to get your emails, they have a way to unsubscribe. There is nothing worse than having an email that you've unsubscribed from, and then you continue to get those emails there. You will be sent to the spam folder so quick. You won't, and then before you know it, your domain is going to be treated just as a spam entity in general. So that's another situation where you want to keep in the front of your mind, where even if somebody has been enjoying your content, maybe you just caught them on a bad day, or maybe they're not in the industry anymore, or whatever reason that they have, you need to make sure that you're offering a way for those users to unsubscribe. And another example too of a cold email going wrong, and why email segmentation is so very important from a business perspective. Because when I was working at a logistics company, there was one particular sales rep, because she needed help with her email segmentation, not just at her level, but at a company-wide level. And this has to do with, sales and leads and things like that, where this one woman, she had been working on a lead for a couple months. And then all of a sudden, the person that she was talking to reached out and said, I just got this email from another salesperson within your company. We're not going to move forward with doing business with you anymore, because if you don't know what's going on inside your own company, then we don't want you handling our business. And that business they lost a potential multi-million-dollar account because people couldn't segment their email lists, and people didn't know what leads were being worked and what leads weren't. And when they sent that cold email, it rubbed that person the wrong way, and they lost that business opportunity just like that. And that is a perfect example of why you want to treat your audience and their time with respect. And so if you're offering valuable insight, if you're offering valuable information, then you need to present it in a way that's the most beneficial to your audience. And even then, they still might not want to hear from you, but you have to honor those requests with an unsubscribe button and making sure that the content of your emails is all about them. In one case in particular, a guy that I know bought an email list, hundreds of thousands of people on this email list, hundreds of thousands. And so what they did is, instead of using that as a lead opportunity, they just wanted to start sending out mass emails. For those who work in trucking and logistics, they started sending out load available lists or available load emails, and people got them every single day, and they couldn't report them as spam because there was no unsubscribe button. So not only did this company obtain this email list probably illegally, and then started emailing all of these people in mass. So not only are you creating a bad sentiment, a bad temperament around your company, but then they didn't give the people the opportunity to unsubscribe. And what happened after that is their emails were reported as spam so much that their domain got a warning, and they were no longer allowed. Well, they were allowed to send emails for now, but then they had to stop it. And once they stopped it, they had to file an appeal to their domain provider, and in order to get that spam notification removed, because then all of their legitimate emails were then going to spam as well. So it was, not only did it affect their marketing email messages, but it also affected their operation email messages. And I think it's a case of people being lazy and not sending the messages that they intend to send to their intended audience. And it's just a lesson that it can really cost you, not just in the short term. Like, sending an email to 100,000 people seems real easy at the click of a button, but it can also cost you in so many ways that you don't foresee until possibly months or even years later. And so that's a situation where you can take the advice and learn from the lesson that this big company made, and then reverse it and flip it to benefit you and to benefit your audience in the future, which is hopefully what this video has, or this topic has done, because I want you guys to learn from the mistakes that I see out there and that I've done myself. I mean, it is really, admittedly, it is, easy to think about, well, oh my gosh, I could just go and buy, an email list with 1 million people on it, and then that's how I'm going to get the word out about my new e-commerce store. I don't want to do it that way. I don't want to make people mad. I want to provide them value, and I want them to see the product that I have is valuable. And if you don't want my messages, that's perfectly fine. But I want to make sure the people that want my messages get them. And the best way to do that is to segment your email list and start collecting emails the right way. Respect people's time and segment your email list.